Flakes overnight.
Yeah, the snowfall amounts varied quite a bit from one community to the next, but what problems we did see, we all know could have been much worse. Just take a look at what the snow caused on I-81 in the Bristol area. A line of cars and trucks just snarled there at the Tennessee-Virginia state line, really as far as you can see. Those drivers at a standstill for hours, all because of crashes and other vehicles that had gotten stuck in the snow.
Yeah, our top story tonight, WATE 6 News Side reporter Elizabeth Kubel speaking to a Knoxville man who was stranded in the middle of all that mess. Elizabeth joining us now in our newsroom, recapping what we imagine. I can only imagine, Elizabeth, was a pretty scary experience.
Absolutely, Bo. That's actually one of the words that Michael Grider used to describe his weekend. His name, by the way, probably a familiar one. Grider was former Knox County Mayor Tim Burchett's communications director. Tonight, he's back home and safe, speaking to us right when he returned to Knoxville this afternoon. His road trip from D.C. totaling more than 24 hours. A drive, Michael Grider says, unlike anyone he's made before.
We get snow here and you drive in the snow, but 1 or 2 inches of snow that's kind of slushy that lasts for a few hours and is gone is one thing. This was pretty significant. I mean, you could tell looking out the window, we were talking, 4 or 5 inches of snow within the first hour of us getting into it.
He and his wife were on their way back home from a trip to D.C., leaving early yesterday morning and taking Interstate 81 to get here.
It was pretty scary at times. We couldn't go faster than about 25 miles an hour at best. You couldn't tell where the lanes, you couldn't see the roadway markings.
Even coming to a dead stop for hours at mile marker 96, about 21 miles north of Wytheville, Virginia.
People were getting out walking around their cars, and some kids in front of us were playing in the snow. I'd say we were stranded for a couple of hours on the interstate, but we got off the interstate because we were afraid we would end up getting stranded overnight if we didn't. Because it wasn't getting any better, it was only getting worse.
That's why they decided to spend the night at a Virginia hotel. So their trip, expected to take 8 hours, lasted nearly 32, he says.
Scary, tedious, nerve-wracking, all of those things.
The pair snapping this picture when they crossed Tennessee's state line. The smiles on their faces clearly showing how thankful they are to be back in Knoxville tonight. Now, I also asked Grider about a lesson learned from this situation. He told me if you're even thinking about needing to pull off the road in wintry weather, that's probably a good indication that you shouldn't be out there driving. Kristen, Bo.
That is a
True.
Great example.
Yes.
Elizabeth,
yes.
Thank you. And you guys heard me whine about this last week. I was coming back from the same area, got stuck there more than 20 years ago, right where he was.
Spot, right
in that same spot. And it's scary. You don't forget it.
It is. I mean, we've all been out in situations like that. Sometimes you get stuck, have to find a hotel room. Other times you're able to get through. But yeah, if you feel you're thinking, do I need to pull off?
Yeah.
You're like, well, maybe I shouldn't have been out here in the first place. But glad they're okay. Glad they're back here in Tennessee.
Yeah, definitely.